Ms. Boller, how long were your parents married?
I believe at the time that they were officially divorced, they had been married 38 years.
And you had described in your direct examination a family life that wasn't very good with your dad and your mom. Is that true?
That is correct.
Was there physical violence involved?
I only remember a couple of times that he, maybe grabbed her arm or something. For the most part, it was just I guess I would say he just seemed resentful that he had a wife and kids, and he took, no matter what was wrong, he took it out on her. And in addition to being drunk most of the time, he just was not a very nice person. He had the ability to be nice to his friends and to buy his friends, but he never really, I don't think he truly ever wanted to be a husband or a father.
Well, you said that he caused so many problems and he caused such heartaches. What were you referring to?
Well, it's really difficult. It wasn't. My earliest memories are of him being drunk and fighting with her and calling her names. And I think I was probably 4, and I remember him wanting to take my younger brother to a bar with him. And he, was shoving furniture and rocked the refrigerator back and forth. That they'd only been married probably a little over 4 years at that time. So I can't imagine it was good before then either.
Okay. So you witnessed the verbal abuse?
Yes.
The drunken tirades?
Yes.
Yelling and screaming?
Yes.
Did you witness him threaten your mother?
There were a couple of times where he really had out of control moments, and I remember him calling home from wherever. He would just be gone for days at a time, drunk somewhere, and we didn't even know where he was at. He called home on Father's Day one year and said that he was going to kill all of us. And another time he said that, again, whatever money there was his money, and he accused her of giving too much money to the church, so he packed all of her belongings into paper grocery bags and told her to get out. And at that time, wherever he went for a few days, he then called back and said he was going to kill us all and burn the sawmill down. And ended up, he trashed the house and told everyone that Mom did it, and then that ended up with him begging her to come back and saying he was going to kill himself. So he just...
So there were clearly times when he was upset enough to threaten to kill not only your mother, but also his children. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes.
Were you afraid of your dad?
When somebody is drunk, I don't know if I was truly afraid. He was very intimidating. He bullied Mom so much.
Did this type of lifestyle permeate your growing up? You know what I mean by that?
Yes, yes.
So,
I knew I only invited a few certain friends over. You never knew what he was going to say or what he was going to do.
So from your earliest memories of your father until you left the house were drunkenness, tirades, anger, correct?
Yes.
Abuse, correct?
Verbal abuse, I would say.
Verbal abuse, physical displays, rocking the refrigerator, throwing things.
Right. If it was the day where she could do nothing right, he would throw his supper all over throw it at the wall, or open the door and throw stuff outside. I remember we went somewhere together. He was drunk by the time we were coming home, and she asked him to please slow down. Your 4 kids are in the car, and so he would just creep along a few miles an hour and then speed up to 80 miles an hour on this gravel road.
Okay. And that was pretty much throughout your childhood?
Yes.
Do you recall any number of times that he would have threatened your mother that you heard or that you were aware of? mean, is there any way to quantify it, is kind of what I'm asking.
Well, you kind of just tend to forget about this when everything was better. The two specific times that I can recall are the two times that I have said, and I believe, you know, that was one of my earliest memories, him wanting to take my brother to the bar, and I think I was probably 4. And then the Father's Day was, I would say I was maybe 10 or so.
Growing up, had you ever heard him, or were you concerned about him knowing people that could kill you or your family, your mother, and get rid of the bodies?
I know that he made comments to people about you could hide a body here or something like that. To me directly, he did not say that. But again, I was not close to him. Probably after 2003, that's when
Did the arguments and hostility when you were growing up center around money only, or was there any particular topic that would set him off?
No, I don't think you could ever, well, in Eugene Kimmi's world, what meant the most to him was his drinking, and his money. As far as having a fight, though, when you knew he was drinking whiskey and out of control, you hoped to just tiptoe around and he would just not notice you so that you didn't set off a big argument. And she would not stand up to him because she said, I mean, to me, him to her wasn't like her having a husband. It was like an out-of-control teenager. And she said, it's best just to walk away from it. It doesn't make it any better to argue back at those times.
Did you observe your mother tiptoeing around, as you described it, your father, Eugene Kimmi?
Yes.
Didn't want to upset him, the way she would behave?
Yes.
Was that a fairly constant in your household growing up?
Yes.
There was a time, I'm assuming, Ms. Boller, that changed and your mom did stand up to Eugene Kimmi when she filed for divorce.
Correct.
Did his drinking get worse during that time, do you know?
Well, again, since I didn't have contact with him, that's what I've heard from other family and friends.
Was your mother afraid of Eugene Kimmi?
She was. I think she probably was more than I knew, than any of us knew, probably. She would make sure that while she stayed at the house that we all lived in until the divorce was final. And so while she lived there, we really kept a close eye on her. And if he came to the house, I mean, he would start arguments with her. He sent friends of his by to intimidate her. She would always make sure that if she went to the door for him, she had a phone in her hand to call us, and she would try to tape record what their conversation was.